It's no different. I don't teach it any different. Okay? A lot of people ask that question off the bat first thing. I don't teach zone blocking any different. I teach zone blocking with two principles involved. All right? The thing they have to understand is, are they covered or are they uncovered? All right? First thing that I talk to the lineman about. All right? Now, within that scheme, okay, we do, people always, the second question is, they ask, do we block looks? Yes, we block looks. I study the opponent, I study what their looks are, all right, and what we're going to see. So we just don't go up there and go, okay, let's zone to the right and block this guy right here and climb up and find a guy in our area. All right, that's a misnomer of zone blocking. You have specific guys that you're going to, all right? Which is why the second thing I talk about in zone blocking, all right, are the calls for the line. All right, we have calls. All right, so when we got to BG and did this, and this was a huge problem, now understand this, because when we ran this at Ohio State, we ran the inside and outside zone a little bit when I was at Ohio State, and the problem was, we never knew, number one, the two guys that were working together, based on scheme, and the second thing was, when we did figure that out, all right, there was always a question on who they were working to. Right? So I wanted to put in a system of calls that they could make at the line of scrimmage that number one, made them understand exactly who they were blocking with, right? The partner they were working with, and then exactly who they were going to. So we had to come up with a system of calls, all right? So I started naming the blocks, all right? So let's say we're gonna run zone to the right, to the front side. This is inside zone we're talking now. Now the only thing that changes, all right, if you're going to run outside zone, George, too, and I don't know that you are or not, okay? Let's skip that. All right, inside zone to the right. If we have a combination block between the tackle and tight end, we call it TED, all right? If it's going to be a combination block between the tackle and guard, we call it a tag, all right? If the center is going to use the front side guard in his scheme, he's going to say scoop, all right? If a front dictates that he wants to use the backside guard, he's going to say slip. All right, and then the tackle guard backside is tagged, same as this front side, as would be the tackle tight end backside being a tech block. All right, so I taught them those combinations. So once you realize what the front is, we're going to block it on front. Here's the calls that we make. All right, so they would come up right now. Now, where does the system of calls start? All right, it starts, all right, if there's a tight end in the game, okay, I always started it with the tight end. All right. Now, if there's no tight end in the game, all right, the first, all right, uncovered lineman starts. Now, that was a general rule that I put in. Okay, now, I make all these guys, and that was just a starting point. I make all these guys recognize fronts, and they should all be echoing the calls or making the calls once we've diagnosed what the front is. Okay? But that's the starting point that we came up with, all right? Now, if the tight end doesn't say anything when he's in the game, all right, which there's times that he won't say anything, all right? Then we go right back to the first uncovered lineman, all right, which in an odd front, the right guard who knows he's the first uncovered lineman, he's going to make a tag call, all right? He's going to say tag, tag, tag. So right now, the front side tackle, the tight end, and the center, the back side knows exactly what's going on. These two are working together for him. Now the center could call his block accordingly to what they've called on the front side. Okay, now the second part of the call is the number, all right, of the linebacker that you're working to. All right, and I did this through two-a-days when we first worked this in at Bowling Green. So they'd come up to the line, you'd hear tag 51, all right, tag 48, tag 59, whatever the call of that linebacker, whatever his number is you're working to, all right, make that call so that we know. So if it is a stemming front or they're moving around, this is the guy that gets confused. All right? This center has to know, all right, what linebacker you're working to initially. All right? Once you put it in right now, if my kids come up to the line, you won't hear any of that stuff. All right? Because they've worked together long enough. This is how I installed it and taught it for the first year. I made them make this call, made them make these calls every day. I'd stand right back there and I'd make them make the calls so that everybody heard. Then I'd go into the cadence and snap the football. So they all had a base foundation for what they were doing, learning how to zone block. All right, period. And I made them do it and I made them make the call. All right, so then we go on accordingly through all the fronts. Tag 48, tag 51. Now, how would we block this play? All right, let me erase all this stuff that I put up initially and we'll go through the fronts. And what we did, then we'll go through the footwork accordingly and targets. Okay? So if we have an odd front, all right, my cover line covered, make my calls. All right, the third thing is, all right, what's the front? And I had to determine what the front was. All right, make sure they understood what the front was. And then we're going to go with targets.
What do they call it? So are they calling odd? They call it 50 or they
Now, that's a good question. Now, this is the tricky part. Because it's hard for him, all right, I found this out. I was wanting to call this odd defense, or a 4-3 or a stack. Well, the problem is, he doesn't know in our scheme and how fast we do things, he don't know every time a tight end's in the game.
Right.
Because when a tight end's not in the game, we were 4-1, 4-2, 4-0,
right,
odd.
right.
You know what I mean? That's how we determine things. So he probably, for the most part, sticks with that almost all the time. You know what I'm saying? I never taught him, I've never made him try to learn and understand what a tight end was in a game when it could possibly be a 7 or 8 man front. I let him diagnose it the same way he did the other way, because I didn't want another thing for him to worry about. All right? He would diagnose this as odd in our terms. Odd. That's what we call it. All right? So he would be yelling out odd defense. All right? Now, the tight end knows right now. All right? Here's the first guy. He's covered with a Sam linebacker. Okay? That is a man block for us. How I determine that block and what I call that block is a slide base. So we have an individual zone block, and I don't care if it's him, 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 or him. A slide base is a slide base. All right? Now, what that means is, all right, in our zone blocking scheme, we don't go out and get someone. Okay? There's a center with a nose. All right? Whoever it is, tight end with a 9 technique. I don't care. All right? My target, okay, an inside zone is play side armpit. Okay? Because what am I trying to do? I'm trying to create a stretch in the defense. I'm trying to get the defense, our footwork and the back's footwork and tempo are trying to get the defense to run this way and that way and not downhill at us. That's the whole premise of our footwork. So our footwork has to be tied in with everything we're doing in the backfield, whether we're in the gun or whether we're under center. All right, it doesn't matter. It has to be all tied in together. So I have to create the flow. I don't want to come right directly out at anybody. All right, because when we step forward, the whole reason zone schemes were put in was to get defenses running laterally. All right, so I'm going to take my step on a slide base block, a one-on-one zone block. All right, my first step is going to be a 6-inch step. All right, gaining width and upfield. All right, so here I am as that tight end of that center. My first step is a 6-inch step out and up, 6 inches. Out and up with my eyes going to my target, and my target's the play side armpit. All right, now, that step is for a couple of reasons. All right, I want to take that step, which is, again, a short 6-inch, that's all it is, up and down. Short 6-inch up and down. All right, I want to take that step so that I can react to whatever that guy does. All right, which is why I don't step out. All right, I want to be able to use my second step to redirect. All right, I have to redirect because this is a man block. All right, I've made this a man block by how we're going to block this front. So I can't lose this man inside. I have no help inside. All right, so number one, I can't step straight off the ball because he may jump around me to the outside. All right, I can't step completely flat. All right, why? Because if he does that, I'll never get a hand on him. All right, so all things being equal, we want to split the difference in that step. Now I can react to whatever that guy does. Okay, and I can get my hands on him, I can get my head to the target, and I can drive him off on that angle. Okay, and that's simply what I teach on a slide-based man-to-man block. Now, here's what you have to do. You have to give the tight end an insurance policy. All right, you have to give the tight end a way out. And by that I mean, all right, how many defenses? I don't know how many you see, Coach, but we know if a defense lines up like this, seldom when the ball snaps do they end up like this. All right, you're going to see movement and stuff and blitzing. Well, the first thing defense will do to you, if you're a front side zone team, is this. All right, first thing they did to us, same deal. Here we are running zone. I'll show you some cutouts. All right, tight end's there, he locks on, they make a tag call, he hits the guard, he picks in, tight end wheels, and the Mike linebacker hits you for about a 2-yard loss. All right, so your tight end, and I put this on the tight ends, it's not on the tackles, it's not on anybody else. All right, it's on that tight end. He has to read the stance of these two guys and the width of the body. If this is a blitz, they run. Now, if they didn't run this blitz, you broke them down, they didn't run it, don't put it in the kid's head. You know what I mean? Don't even bring it up. But if it's something that they've done and it's a problem, and I'll tell you, it's a way to attack tight ends on teams. It's a good stuff. So this guy's going to cheat and this guy's going to cheat. They're probably going to be tight, head up, maybe loose outside, but tight on you. Tight on us guys. All right? If that happens, you need to give him insurance policy. In our scheme, his insurance policy is a gang call. Okay? Now, what does a gang call mean? All right, it means no combinations. All right, I'm not comboing anybody, boys. This is true zone play now. Step, 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 and read what happens. All right, so we'll all take that slide base step. On the snap of football, we'll all take that 6-inch jab, and now we're going to read what they do. All right, but what it does is it alerts this tackle, and it alerts this guard, hey guys, I think we're getting this double slant move. All right, I think it's coming. If it does, I try it. If it doesn't come, who cares? That's the beauty of the thing. Take your footwork, man, and still react, but all I'm doing is giving you a heads up so that we don't get picked here by this stunt. And believe me, they'll show it. This guy's alignment and this guy's width will show that stunt. All right, so yeah, we had to come up with something, and I had to come up with something. I'm a big guy in letting the fucking kids go play the game, meaning if I'm in a drive, and we're going to run a 12-play drive, all right? And we start the first play, all right? We run zone, and that stunt gets us, and that guy whacks us in the backfield, it's a 2-yard loss. I don't want those guys to have to wait until we lose the football, come back over on the sideline, and have me draw that shit up for them. I want them to have the answer right there. So they go back to the huddle, hey guys, they ran the damn Mike thing, let's go, let's gang the thing next time we run it. That's taken care of. So I like to give them tools, and we always talk about a tool belt with the linemen. I have to give them the tools. When they go in that free game, here's your belt, all right? If this stunt comes and hits us on 1st and 10, we drive down to the goal line, and I run the same play in the 5-yard line, and that stunt hits us again, it isn't their fault, it's my fault. Because I want you to have the tools you needed to go, man. I have to give you those tools. This is one of the tools that they need out there in the field to help them when something bad happens. All right? So I try to give them tools to help those bad situations. That's the first one. All right? If that stunt occurs to you, that tight end, you have to give him an answer in order for him not to get picked and able to block that stunt. All right? And that's the first answer that we use on the front side of that. All right? Now, let's go back to the rest of the scheme. Just saying it's a base run. All right? Base deal. All right, he slide bases, he's out of the thing. All right, now, tag. Okay, we're back to the next 2 inside guys. All right, covered guy and uncovered guy. All right, now, here's the 3 principles, all right, for a covered lineman. Okay, there's 3 things I talked to him about. All right, first thing is, you have to look at is, number 1, or A, alignment, all right, of down linemen. All right, where is he? Meaning, how tight is he to me? How wide is he to me? All right, what is his stance? All right, what's he doing? All right, what's he look like he's doing? Okay, so I have to analyze that first. Second thing I talked to him about, all right, is position of second level defender. Okay, where is he? Meaning, who's the guy we're going to? All right, they just made a tag call 51. All right, I want to analyze where my D lineman is, and I want to find out where the second level defender is. That helps me with my block. All right, and then the third thing is appropriate footwork. All right, here we go. Now, nothing changes. All right, nothing changes when I talk about the uncovered guy. He's looking at the same things. The alignment of the down guy, where is he? The position of the second level guy, which I'm going to, and now what's my footwork? All right? So both those things are the things that I talk about, all right, to those guys. And that's what they have to analyze, and that's what they have to prepare themselves for. Okay? Now, those things all taken into consideration. All right? Covered guy's job. All right? I'm covered. I'm stepping off here. Let's say I got a 5 technique. And let's talk in terms of 5. There's no base footwork. And I get a lot of questions, and I'm asked a lot of things about this because it's all we do. But what's your footwork on the front side of zone? What's your footwork on a covered guy? What's your footwork if the backer's here? Well, you know what? All those have different answers to them. Because our footwork changes. If this guy moves, our footwork changes. If he's here, our footwork changes. If that guy bounces out here, my footwork changes. So there is no, oh, this is the Bowling Green zone step. All right, that's not what we do. All right, because I want at all costs, and I tell my guys this, when we put this stuff in initially, I want to make sure, as best we can on all of our zone plays, all right, that we get 4 hands on the down lineman. All right, if I can get 4 hands and move that guy, guys, that's the ultimate. That's the ultimate. That's an A+ for you to play. I gotta have 4 hands on those down guys because I want to create movement. I don't want those guys moved off the football. Now, what he does will predicate whether I can get 4 hands on him or not. All right? So I'm the covered guy. What can this guy do to me? Well, he can go outside. Don't let me reach him. All right? He can play right into me. Try to stick me and stuff me. All right? Or he's on a stunt. He's going to slant to the inside. So I have 3 things I got to worry about as a covered lineman. Okay? What is my first worry? All right? What I tell my linemen is, whether you are covered or uncovered, okay, you have to block worst case scenario. All right? So you have to say to yourself, in teaching this, I'm this guy right here, there he is. What is, based on his alignment, what is the worst thing that guy can do to me right now? Well, if I'm covered and I got a 5 technique, in my opinion, the worst thing that can happen is for him to outside penetrate through my shoulder. Because then the ball's getting turned back inside, zone plays over. All right? So I'm going to block so that doesn't happen. All right? I'm going to react to the other 2 scenarios that can happen to me, but I'm damn well not going to let the worst case scenario based on his alignment. And if he's a 5 technique, and he's a loose 5 technique, his coach put him there for a reason. He put him there so your ass doesn't get reached, all right, and don't get knocked off the ball. Drive that guy in the backfield, okay? So I'm going to take my step accordingly. I'm going to take my zone step, all right? I'm going to take it again, 6 inches. I'm going to gain width. I'm going to gain round upfield. I'm going to aim at his outside armpit, and I'm going to try to knock that son of a bitch right off the football, all right? So if I step, okay, if I step there, you're the 5 technique. There's my step, there's my head going to the armpit. If you stay there, I'm going to 2-hand you. I'm going to put my helmet on the armpit, my screws, and I'm going to take these 2 hands, and I'm going to jam right under your breastplate, grab you, and I'm going to run you off on that angle. All right? That's my job. I'm going to run you off right off on this angle. Okay? If I take my first step, and you decide to run, okay? I'm going to try my best to get my hand, my front side hand, and my eyes on my target. Probably won't do it because he's going to run out of there. He's told by his coach, don't get reached. Fine. I will take my inside hand at that point. I will turn and I will run you completely sideways to the sideline. All right? I don't care if I'm trailing you, if he's right here and I'm trailing in a position like that. It doesn't matter to me. If he wants to expand that gap, take his momentum and expand him to the sideline. Run him to the sideline as fast as you can run to the sideline. Okay? Now, 3rd case scenario, what can you do? You can go inside. Okay? Great. If I'm the cover lineman, all right, I should be able to read his stance, first of all, and see that he won't go inside unless he's covering some part of my body. All right? So my step now probably won't be, if he's tight, probably won't be that 60. It may be 6 straight up the field now at his armpit, because his armpit's tighter to me. He's not the loose 5, he's a tight 5. So why the hell step wide? Why is he tightened down, Tommy? Because he's probably going inside. Great. Block his ass accordingly. All right? So, as I step, I'm going to step that 6 inches right at that armpit. Now, what happens? He's inside. My job at this point, all right, is to take the blow off of the uncovered guy. All right? My only job I have. Don't let this guy completely come free and whack the shit out of your guard. All right? He can't come free. So how do I do that? All right, coach, here we go. He's tightened down on me now. He might be going inside. I'm up the field 6 inches, there he goes. I take my inside arm and my inside leg, and I throw it straight up the field, and I get any piece of his body that I can get. Just deflect him. Whatever you can get. Heavy, if I get a good piece, get a good piece. If I don't get a good piece, just deflect him. Just take any deflection so that your buddy can redirect, punch, and steer, and take the block over. All right? Just don't let him come clean. Because what you'll see kids do is this. My guys still do it. There's the 5 technique, there's the step, and then they end up here, and there that guy goes. Well, once I've crossed over, and that guy slants, my buddy's dead. I'm dead, and this kid's dead because he's going to get hit. And now the ball's jammed.
You're going to stand there, you can move it over.
All right?
If you're going to stand there for a while, yeah. You going to go back to class?
Yeah, it's gonna be
Okay. All right, go ahead. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Okay? So that's the job of the uncovered guy. Or the covered guy, excuse me. Take a piece off if he comes inside. So those 3 things I have to react. Now, the uncovered guy. Same deal. I'm uncovered. All right? Number 1, block worst case scenario. What's worst case scenario for me? My worst case scenario is that guy slanting full bore and knocking me in the face. Okay? So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to block worst case scenario. I'm going to take my step. Now my step, again, the uncovered guy, I will let step flat. I don't bucket step, coach. I don't do the old back up bucket step to get in course. I think that's too, I think it slows him up and gets your shoulders up too high. All right? But I will let him slide lateral, all right, in order to get himself in a position on that guy's armpit if he does slant to me. Okay? I won't bucket step. I don't bucket step. I don't drop step. All right? We don't do that. What I will do is if we know what the front is, or they can adjust as a general principle, all right? You'd like to have your cover lineman crowd the line of scrimmage a little bit, and you'd like to have your uncovered guys just back up a little bit so that they're not totally on the same plane. It may be 4 inches.
Back your guard up, you said?
Yep, the uncovered guy. If my tackles are uncovered, and it's this type of front, all right, I'm going to back him up a little bit now. You know what I'm saying? And I want him to crowd the ball so I can get the next guy in behind without having too much of a problem, all right? But not that it's a big deal, not that it's noticeable. It just helps these kids out without having to tell them, I got a bucket step and then try to get in there. I want them rolling off the football. So I want to roll that slide step. I'm rolling my hips and my weight as I'm coming up semi-square on that defensive end if he slants to me. Okay? If he slants to me, I'm expecting help from the tackle. I'm expecting him to knock off a little bit of piece of the guy, but if he doesn't, well, I've got to put myself in a position when he slants, all right? Good step there, second step, right down his inside foot step, and we have to meet with a collision, all right? And I got to put my head right underneath his chin. My screw's right underneath his chin. I have to punch and then steer and try to get my shoulders back square, all right? I got to punch and steer and do the best job I can of getting my shoulders back square. That only happens if the tackle lets him go. That only happens if the tackle whiffs him, which should never happen if they're doing it correctly. Okay? Now, second case. All right? Slanting into the first one. Second case, let's say he plays heavy. Plays through the shoulder, plays tight and heavy. I step, I read that hip, which is the target for the uncovered guy. All right? Excuse me, I didn't even tell you that. Frontside guys place that armpit. What I read first, as an uncovered guy, my first read is that hip. Because that hip is going to tell me what he's doing. Alright? So when I read the hip plays into my tackle. He goes to reach, there's a 5 technique, he plays into him. Okay? I know right now, I'm going to one-hand this thing. Alright? I talk in terms of 1 hand, 2 hand, 0 hands. Alright? He comes into me and slants, what's that? 2 hands, obviously. I got to take him on, I got to block him. All right? He hangs tough, I'm going to one-hand him. So he's blocking my guy. All right? I'm not trying to run past this thing and take this block over. Okay? It's not outside zone. I'm trying to move him. So I'm going to step, get in his pocket, and take the 1 hand I have, my right hand, focus on the hip, and I'm going to jam the hip, and I'm going to hit my eyes up on this linebacker. All right? Keeping my backside arm free, because I don't want my shoulders to turn. So I'm going to one-hand it. All right? He's got 2 hands out. They're fighting. I'm going to attack that hip and punch the hell out of that hip if I can punch that hip. Okay? And then I'm gonna read this guy. And I'm gonna start to push, and I'm gonna hunker down, and we're just gonna push and walk this guy off until this guy declares what he wants to do. I do not declare to a linebacker until he declares to the line of scrimmage. Because some kids wanna come off, tap the hip, take off, and then he flows over here and they go, oh shit, I can't get him. All right? So the biggest thing on this block here when that guy plays into it is patience. Get the hip, start working, drive him off the ball, and make this guy make a decision. All right? When he declares, meaning when he declares, I come off and block him. If he doesn't declare, if he's hanging, trying to find a window, you hang, and knock him off into him. All right? So patience is the biggest part of this deal right here. I've got to have patience on that thing. And I can't be too soon to come off. Either guy cannot be too soon to come off. All right? Third scenario. All right? Slants outside. I step, I watch the hip's gone. Uh-oh. Okay, 0 hands. I step, my second step redirects, I'm back up the field now, and I'm going to attack the outside linebacker in his outside armpit. Slowly, again, slowly with patience, because what I don't want to do is this. I don't want to have that man fly out of there. All right, I step, and I take off straight at that backer. Because if I stop and take off straight at the backer, what's he going to do? He's going to step up, blow up, pop me. Now the flow of the play, the idea of them running to the sideline, all right, I've let that flow, I've lost the flow. So I still want to keep attacking that man on the outside to get him to flow, all right, to buy my back time to find a nice crease in there. Again, it's patience, patience, patience. All right, patience, patience, patience on that block. All right, so those are the 3 scenarios. That's how I teach now. You can take any front known to man and put it up there, and it's the same. So that block I just explained to you is the same right there. All right, that block I just explained to you is the same right there. All right, my footwork and everything we do, okay, depends on, all right, his alignment and his alignment. Take the proper footwork. All right, taking the proper footwork. So that's the other beauty of the thing. You can sit there and talk about zone blocking. You can get in lines of 2, and it can be your starting center next to your tight end. Put a freaking guy here and a guy here. It doesn't make any difference. Makes no difference to me. There's 2 guys working a combo. His footwork ought to be the same as his footwork, based on where these guys are aligned. Put a guy out here, same deal. I don't care if it's a starting tight end in the center. I'm stepping here, I'm stepping like it's a 3 technique, I'm stepping like it's a 9. It doesn't matter, guys are guys. You have to decide where their fronts are, plug the fronts in, and let them go. Right now, there's one more thing on the backside, all right, that I want to talk about, because this was another one that you'll see on the tape. People hunting us up a little bit on it, because it's another great deal with it. All right, you get a tight front, what we call tight defense, over defense. All right, now, if you're running zone with the tight end again, okay, there's a couple things that you can do with your center here. All right, our rule is this, okay? Our rule is this. The center's going to single block that nose guard until he gets on the front side guard. All right? If he's not on the front side guard, meaning if he's not covering him whatsoever, all right, the center's going to block him on his own. So if we get a tight defense, this guy's just a shade. Like, you know, I guess that's the #1 deal you probably see was leading to. All right? He's going to make a call, all right, telling everybody, badger. Okay? Which means what? I'm gonna base this nose up. He's mine. All right? You guys find your combos, block the defense accordingly. It's a tight front. I'm gonna badger this guy. And block him on my own. All right? Block him by myself. Let's go my damn dog. All right? So he's gonna block him. Now, front side, we get a tag block. Back side, we get a tag block and a solo block out of this guy. Okay? Now, as soon as you do that, all right, first thing the defense is going to do, and the stuff that just was a nightmare against us, Oklahoma ran against us last year, same deal. But again, the toolbox, you got to be prepared for it. First stuff is this. Okay? You got your center badger. As soon as, if they're sharp, first thing they see in the press box, say the center's basing the nose up, drive the nose backside in gap, what happens? Here's my tag, nose drives backside, bang, bang, collision, will linebacker 2-yard loss. Okay, same deal. All right, it's no different than the stuff that they run on the front side. Tight defense, eagle defensive teams running front side, backside, front side, backside, front side, and they mix it up and confuse it up. And it's good stuff. Okay, the tight end now, again, if I drew it right here, this is what I like about it. I don't know that anybody else agrees with me, but there's the Sam, there's an end, there's a Mike, right? There's a center, there's a guard, there's an end, backside, okay? That's the same damn stuff. It's the same stuff. Whatever, I can argue with anybody all day long. It's the same stuff working with guys. So now, the tight end and the center. When the center sees this nose, cheat the head up, like he's going to cheat, or cheat to real tight. Like, that guy hasn't been tight on me. All right? He's going to go back here. We give the center a call. All right? He makes a zebra call. Meaning zone. All right? Meaning all back. That gang is strictly a front side call. Zebra is the same exact call for the back side. Same exact call. So the center's going to say, guys, I got to zebra this because I think that stunt's coming. I don't want to get picked. So he's going to step. He's going to step accordingly for that. He's going to step accordingly for that. And we boom, boom, boom. And we pick the stunt up. So if it happens and it catches us, it won't catch us a second or third time. All right? And they have to be smart enough to realize that guy from a true shade is not going to run this stunt. He's going to run it from a real tight alignment and tighten himself down so that he can get to his responsibility. Where's his responsibility? Backside A gap. Where's his responsibility? Front side C gap. They're not going to do that from wide alignments. All right? So those two guys got to be sharp and recognize it. And now we got two calls, all right, that take us out of bad situations and get us in a good situation. All right? And both those guys have it. It's the same stuff on the front side as it is on the back side, in my opinion. But you have to be ready. You have to be ready to block those two situations. All right? In a zone blocking scheme. All right? And that, I'll go over the 3 technique now. Thank you, George. Any questions on anything else on that? You got the targets. What's this tailback what? Hot work. Footwork. Oh, footwork. Good. Okay.
Just to review that for my own
That's
purposes.
fine. That's fine. All right. All right. Our footwork. All right, from the tailback. He is going to open, crossover. He's 1, 2, 3. It's 3 steps, I believe, to the mesh, Coach. And I'll show you. I'll look at it on tape. I want to make sure I get it down myself. 15 read 1, 2, 3. Yep, it's 3. It's 3. It's 1, 2, 3 to the mesh, and you're responsible for the mesh. Now, what's the mesh? All right? When Bowling Green talks of it, when we talk in terms of mesh, all right? People ask about this play. Our zone replays it. Is the ball stuck in there? Does he ride it? None of that happens. All right, we don't ride. He's not riding the side. That ball is either there or it's not there. So when that ball snapped in the midst of his 1, 2, 3, what is that guy doing? If that quarterback sees that end is coming up the field, the ball is there. He stands there. He doesn't do anything. He just stands there with the football. All right? If he sees that man chase, when our tackle goes down, the football's not there. He sees it. So he just waits for the tailback to go, and then he's gone. So it is no stick it in, pull it out, all that kind of stuff. It doesn't happen. By the time I get there, his decision has to be made. Has to be made. All right? It's either in there or it's out of there. It's there or it's not there. One or the other. Okay? Now, what we tell our tailback as far as target on this play. Same deal from under center, because we run it from under center too. My target is the butt of the tackle. All right? My target is the butt of the front side tackle. Now, I have to get there. That's why in his footwork in the gun, we talk in terms of 1, 2, 3 to the mesh, 1, 2 past the mesh. That's critical. It's 5 steps. Any way you slice it. If it ain't 5, you ain't running the play right. All right? Not in my opinion. Because what happens to your backs is they go 1, 2, 3, they get the ball, and they start to do this. Well, what happens to this?
Come downhill right now.
That guy's not going to be blocked, and that guard's going to try to fall back in and block him. He's going to get hit right here, and people are going to start yelling at the fucking guard. Oh, the guard didn't block him. Bullshit. I'll be the first guy that runs from back here and grabs the back and chokes him. All right? Because it ain't their fault. Your job, these 2 steps, in my opinion, are part of the blocking scheme. If you don't take those 2 steps past that mesh point, we might as well not block it like this because it isn't going to work. All right? So if that happens, and somebody undercuts this play, undercuts it in here because he's doing that, it isn't these guys' fault. All right? It's that fault because he didn't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, once I've taken my 5th step, all right, I have to read the first cover lineman past the center. All right? So whatever the front is. Okay? And we don't count again. We don't count it too high until he touches the guard. All right? If he's a nose, that's the first lineman past the center. All right? If there's a guard covered guy, that's the first lineman past the center. That's my key. So when I get to there and get the ball, what has this picture done? If that guy's stretched, bang the ball up the field. All right? If that guy's been captured, I may keep it outside a little bit farther. All right? But I have to read at that point, I have to read first covered lineman past the center. As soon as I do that, you be a ball carrier and run the football. Coaching's over at that point. All right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps. Read the first covered lineman, and then bang the football in the first vertical crease you see. And that's when we teach the back. And that's imperative, same deal. That's imperative to the back. All right? That he's on that footwork, and he's on that course. All right? Because he has to be. If he's not, play more than that. All right? Plays more than that if that doesn't happen. Okay? Now, the only difference, the only thing I'm talking about, I guess, unless you have a question, is 2-3 technique now. All right? When we run it to a 3.
Instead, I got other markers down here. That one's starting to wear.
Okay? There you go. Okay? If we run it to a 3 technique, okay? Number 1, all right? You can decide about how you want to do it or what the best way to do it is, how to block it. Okay? I don't want to ever turn my guard loose. Here's the number 1 box that we see. All right? Same thing if you're in a spread set.
Number 1 box we see.
Yeah, that's what you'll see. That's what I mean. It can't be much else. That's the beauty of this damn offense. You spread them out, there only damn so many looks so you can get in there. All right? So we want to block this to a 3 technique. Same deal with me. I got to see where he is. My footwork doesn't change. I'm covered. I'm uncovered. Let's rock and roll with what we're doing. Now, we see a bunch of veer 3 technique, trying to get the zone play to bounce. They try to veer and penetrate. That's one of the number 1 things that we see. Okay? So I lead our center with a flat step. Boom. Collision that guy. Try to take him over, punch and steer. You try to step, take the inside off of the slant move, bang him, climb up to the next level. All right? That's not the issue on this play. The issue on this play is this block right here. All right? That's the guy that has to be good. Okay? That's the guy that has to be good. Now, what we've done, it's a tough block for us. I'll let our kids cut, all right, occasionally, 1 time a quarter, I'll tell them, before I'm blocking on the backside of the shade. If I can't get my proper footwork, and I can't get square on that guy, and I don't worry about getting square on that guy. I don't care. All right? Meaning, I'll change my footwork now. All right? That guy's so tight, and when the center goes, man, he's there, coach, I can't get him cut off. Number 1 problem, I agree with you. And all we do, I'll change this guy's footwork. I'll take a hard, sharp, almost flat lateral step. All right? I'll throw my head across the bow, and that, in my terms, that means throw the head across the front, put my backside hand on his hip, and drive him flat down the line of scrimmage. I won't even try to position block or zone block him. I won't even try. I don't want to try. Okay? I don't care. All right? I don't care if that's the case. Now, the other thing that you can do, and I've done this 1 time. Let's say you're not getting a bunch of 3 technique from here. All right? and you feel pretty confident, all right, about the job that your guard can do. Okay? Then let the guard be the slide base guy, like the tackle, make those both man blocks, and step the center here, double him to here. All right? You can do that. We did it with Wake Temple 2 years ago because they had Joe Clucko's son right there. We couldn't block the son gun. All right? We couldn't block him. So I couldn't run zone to a 3 technique because our guard tried to cut him off, and that damn son bitch is back here 4 yards. So okay, then come up with something. All right, so what happened? And I didn't even make this adjustment. I centered at the time John Mazer on the sideline in the middle of the series. He said, Coach, he came aside. I said, what'd you do? He said, I changed it from a scoop to a slip. I said, why? He said, the coach's backside guard couldn't come off. So he said, let's not scoop it, work with the front side, let's slip it. So they changed it in the middle of the drive, again, because they had the ability to do that. They knew, okay, we got a problem here. He can't get it, let's scoop it. Let's take the good guy and let's double him and work to the front side. So that's the change they made. All right? And they did that on their own, and they doubled it, and went boom, 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 and ran the play. All right? Much, much better, all right? That running that way. Now, the other side of the coin, all right? The other thing that you can do, when we started doing this, you can check the play, all right? Okay? If you don't have that ability or you're comfortable doing it the other way, all right, then you can check the play to a shade, which we've been there before. And said, okay, if we can't cut that son of a bitch off, then don't ever put him on the backside. All right? He's going to be on the front side. We'll always run the ball to him. That way, we don't have to get this cutoff block backside. We got good angles here to double up. We got good angles here to either double here or double here, depending on what we want to do, and run the play to a shade. All right? So you don't have to worry about that backside cutoff. All right? I don't worry about it because we'll cut him or either just put our helmet right in his ribs and drive him past and try to jump cut the thing. But, so we do it, again, there's 2 or 3 or 4 ways that you can give these gentlemen to handle that during the course of the game so that we don't have to wait till the end of the drive and they can go, what the hell do I do? They've already got answers that they can do within the scheme. All right? But that's how we block into a 3 technique. I always take the center there, unless that guy's a war daddy, then double him and go to the front side. All right? Any questions? Yep.
I guess only because I've been doing it that way, I'm used to it. I don't know if you told me that, if Soriano did or what, but running it into the I-2. You know, so we're scooping a 3. Okay.
I like that, buddy.
I guess that's our predominant philosophy, and what I'm looking to do is I'll probably check it in the huddle, check with me, and then we'll check.
You get a lot of 2-eye?
Yeah.
God, that's awesome.
Yeah, run it right into that.
Oh.
And then when they adjust, then I could use some of these other tools to run it into the 3 technique.
Exactly. And see, that's what, see, I would, if I had a 2-eye, I would always run it to a 3 technique.
You would always run it into the 3 technique?
Yeah,
You got
because
2-eye.
I know I can get him cut off.
Right.
I got a backside cutback now. I mean,
Okay.
if you know what I mean, just in my term of thinking, Coach.
Okay.
When I get a 2-eye, 2 things come to mind. Number 1 is, all right, run zone to the 3.
Why is that better than not? Why is that better than not? Why is it backside cutoff better than the 3 technique backside cutoff?
Oh, I can do it with one guy.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying? I'm not involved in him.
Right.
I think my guys are good enough that I can go.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Okay, sure.
Now,
Right.
when we blow that guy, there's a crater to me.
Right.
I want to get in there.
Okay.
That's where I want to go. So that's my thinking. All right. The second thing is, if you get a 2-eye, all right, is, you know what I mean? Whack, whack, big crater in there again. You know what I mean? I love it running trap into that damn book.
Well,
Two eyes.
we check that
It's awesome.
all the time.
Awesome. It's great. All right? As long as, and again, if it's a 2-eye, if it's a 2-eye and a 3, and there's the backers, why the hell would you run trap? I'm going to run speed option now.
Yeah, no shit.
Now, when they start doing this, because I'm running speed option out the wazoo, not trapping.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I always look at the width of these 2 guys,
Okay.
and then I'm trying to understand the complement between trap and speed
Okay.
based on the alignment of these 2 guys.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So,
Okay.
All right? But no, I mean,
Good stuff.
yeah, exactly. It's good. And there isn't any right or wrong answer.
Okay.
That's how you run it. I'll guarantee you, a lot of times in my mind, George, it comes down to when a game starts and I'm going through the first and second quarter. You know what I mean? Who are we handling?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
3 or 1 sometimes is out the fucking window.
Out the window.
I mean,
who we
they
got
get
double?
Corey. Yeah.
Who we got double because of personnel?
Exactly.
Okay.
Corey, I say, hey, Corey's kicking the shit out of that kid.
Okay.
Keep running left.
Okay.
I got help on that guy.
Okay.
Or if there's a war daddy in there, we need 4 hands on the war daddy. And then I'll manage where we run it, whether it's 3 or shade, I throw it out the window. I don't know who's kicking whose ass in there,
Okay.
where I got my best mismatch on. And if I can get a good mismatch, then I'll take it in that direction.
Beautiful. Feel good about that, Coach Sharper?
Yeah.
All right, any questions on that, Coach? Any of the fundamentals and steps? We went over to a 3 technique. Anything on the block end or the combos or anything on that deal?
Nope.
No? We gotta move on.
I don't get this many fucking phone calls on my birthday. Holy shit. No kidding.
I didn't get a chance to say hello.
Put this on pause. Waste anything. Did you change the dates?
No, it's 46 minutes I got.
Leaving voicemails for myself. Send out 10 letters.
Okay, we're going to read option?
Yep. Now, you're running zone read, right? How do you handle it? What is your guys', I guess before I ask you, what is your philosophy on blocking the backside? How do you guys block the backside?
And man is left alone.
Okay. Now, what happens if you run a 14 read or the zone this way, and that backer walks up and stands right there?
Well, we're screwed. We still try to run it. And if that guy drops down like he went over the other day, then we're in trouble.
Okay.
We didn't see a whole lot of that,
Good.
to be honest with you. But I still want to prepare for it.
Right, you still want to be prepared.
Yeah.
What we do
When I
is-
saw that the most was in the All-Star game.
Yeah. Well, I know. See, that's exactly how they're stopping it.
Okay.
They're going to gap exchange the shit.
Gap exchange.
Yeah, there's no question. So it's gonna come around sometime or another with what people, without bringing an extra guy in there. That's the way when that tackle goes to zone, scream and go.
Right.
They bait you into pulling him into an unblocked guy.
Right.
Which is the same thing we ran into too. So I'll just tell you what we do. Okay. The first thing we do, I give this tackle a rule on the backside. All right. Anytime the linebacker, all right, anytime the backside linebacker, we're going to block, gets head up or outside of you, of your lineman. Okay? Anytime he is head up or outside of you, okay, we are going to make what's called a man call. Okay? We're going to make what's called a man call. What that is that tells this guard and myself, block him, let him go. Okay? Now, what's the quarterback's job when a man call's made? He don't have to, first of all, I don't ever want to involve him in the calls of the offensive line.
You don't have to know.
No.
The end of the show, it don't matter.
What is my rule? When that ball's in the air, he catches it, and he sees that tackle hit that end, hand the football off, son. Your read is done because of what he did. All right? Now, second thing is, all right, the second step on it. That's the easy way. Make a man call.
Let me ask you this though, just play devil advocate. That linebacker's head up or outside, then
Okay.
you're just gonna give your tailback a go. You're just gonna say, if he gives it, you're just gonna let him go one-on-one if that's what it comes to. At the very least, we're getting 3 or 4 yards.
God bless.
Is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
Now,
Just wanna make sure.
you said, well, not really.
Good. I'm glad we cleared that up.
God, let's clear it up. I understand.
I'm glad we cleared that up.
What I tell this guy, when I bang this guy, on the snap, I make a man call, I bang him, because I'm guessing gap exchange. If it isn't, and he falls in here, come off and chase him.
All right, so you're still eyeballing.
Exactly. So I'm still getting the best of both worlds. So what I tell him is, all right, you can make a man call, but on the run, it really turns into that. It turns into a sift.
Okay.
All right? So what you're saying doesn't take place. Maybe I make a man call and this guy starts doing this before the ball snapped. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
If he does that, then I may start to step at the end and freaking just go.
Gotcha.
Because he's gonna hand it off now regardless.
Gotcha.
Once I step, I just may leave.
Right.
So the only reason I make a man call, and the only reason there's any call period, is for his benefit.
Okay.
Not for mine, because I'm the one that has to decipher the backside of this play on the run. I have to decipher it on the run. The only reason the call even exists is so the guard knows that we're not double teaming.
Right.
So that's the only reason. So that tackle can handle that in the zone. All right, now, read option. Blocking up front doesn't change one iota for the line. We still go through everything we go through. All right, we still do everything. The calls are the same. All the stuff's the same. We still could possibly end up making a man call if the case showed for it. All right, we can still make a man call, and that way the option's off, the ball's handed off, blah, blah, blah. Okay? Now, everything's the same. I'm here, we're running read, boom, boom, boom. Except now, when that end chases and the quarterback pulls it, he's not pulling it to run the ball, and the perimeter's not being blocked like it normally is on 14 and 15 read. Someone from somewhere in your formation, okay, whether it's a 2x2 set, all right?
Yeah, just stay with the 2x2.
Okay? All right? Someone in your formation, okay, is perfect. It's really good versus that type of. Right there. All right? All right, yeah, you got a one high look, you got a team that's in an 8-man front. First thing I want to do is get a 2x2 and run read option. Man on the side, backs up, gets in pitch phase, option, deep man to my side, here we go. All right, so now.
You said versus the 4-2 look with a 1 high, the first thing you want to do is go into a double set and run read option.
Absolutely, 1 high. Now, so, well, I shouldn't say that again, I lied to you. First thing I'm gonna do is throw 4 verse. Second thing
I like that.
is run read option.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
First thing, they're all gone. You heard deep shit. Second thing I'm going to do to run the football
Gotcha.
is run read option. Because what happens in this set is you're running your normal read play and you're asking these two guys. This is what I found over 4 years. You're asking this guy and this guy to be great blockers on linebackers or strong safeties.
Right.
Now, while they can do it, well, what happens when that guy runs up here to snap the ball and puts himself in the unblockable position? Or ducks inside here, the end comes out, you can't get him. That was our problem. We're pounding sand going, block him so-and-so, block him. Well, you know what? I'm more worried about your ball catching skills. I'll ask you to block, but how am I going to ask you to block a guy that's not in position to block?
Right.
So fine, the hell with him. Back up, get in pitch phase. Now you better be option sound with all your bouncing around bullshit.
Right.
All right, and again, you can do it either way. I can fly the back here, back him up and run it to the field boundary, whatever the look, whatever the matchup on this guy that you like better. You know what I mean? Who do I want to handle? So if we're getting an 8-man front, I'm going right now and running read option. 1 high, 8-man front, read option. All right, that's my thinking upstairs. I get an 8-man front team of Marshall, of Western Michigan, of Toledo, those people, I'm going right now. All right?
Just so we're clear, I'm sure these guys know that, but just so we're clear, it's 14 read option. So if that end doesn't squeeze, it's still a handoff. We're still running 14.
Yeah. People think it's just an option. No, it isn't.
We're still
he can back up and do nothing, and there goes the damn ball being run in his own.
Exactly. It all depends on what the email, the ML line does.
Very good point. And like I said, like Coach said, the blocking for this tackle is the same. So what you'll get first thing is, again, they want to get a gap exchange look. So now what happens? You go Veer, he gives a pull read, quarterback player, pitch player.
Right.
All right? So they want to do that with you and say, okay, well, they're going to run that read option again.
Right.
Well, good. Because as soon as he goes out here to gap exchange, he says, man,
see it.
Western Michigan did that to us 2 years ago, and we had 2 backs rush for 150 yards.
Oh, shit.
I'll show it to you, it's on tape. And they're gap exchanging this shit, and we're popping right down the middle of the field, there's nobody there. So the answers you have are built in. So when I call read option, I don't necessarily know that the option phase is going to get run. It may just be 14 read. But what I do know is I'm not putting these kids in a bad position to block a guy that they can't block. All right, they can't get to him, they can't block him. I'm not putting them in that position. All right, I'm putting them in a better position to run the freaking play. All right. Now, you can do the same deal out of a 3x1 set. And then again, play, no different. All right, out of a 3x1 set, now you can run it to the boundary, back this guy up, and run your read option face to the field. All right, but the beauty of it is, it's still the same. These guys right here, the bread and butter, all right, are running the same thing. All you're doing is taking a guy from the outside and you're window dressing it a little bit one way or the other. All right, by running a different formation. We run it, we motion the guy back in and run it out of empty. All right, same deal. All right, we run it out of a tight end set. We put a tight end here. All right, put the tail back there. Put Cole Ranger right here. Run it to the boundary, back up. Now we got option for the field.
Gotcha.
You know, same deal. Doesn't make any difference. You get that 8-man front structure. All right, you get that 8-man front structure. That strong safety comes down as you pound them into the boundary. Well, you got them. There's your look. Block 6 in the box. There's 7-8. And you're going to the field now. That ends friggin' chasing. You got that. That's a long way to come for that free to even come to play. So I like it versus those 8-man front teams. I like it with the tight end attached. You know, I like it empty. Motion the guy back in. I like the same deal. And I told Coach I got a little bit of tape on it from what we did in the spring, I think. Hopefully the dumbass put it in there. But I like to have 2 backs. Read this way, stand around and get the pitch fixed. Same deal. All right, so all those things that we do, all right, are the same thing in every option getting
I'll
enough
tell you what,
choice.
when we go into 2 backs, we are gonna see 8-man front. So if I want to
Thank you.
dictate 8-man fronts like
You know how to dictate it.
Yep.
That's the best thing.
Yep.
That's the one thing I think you, versus people, when they gotta play all this stuff, they have a base idea how they wanna play it, so you can dictate it.
Right.
You wanna run read option, you know if I get in trio, probably gonna be an 8-man front.
Right.
Or if I get in solo, it's gonna be too high, you know?
Right.
So you can dictate what you want.
Right.
And then really, in essence, you do know what's gonna happen before the ball snaps.
What is solo?
Solo are 2x2.
Your 2x2?
Wide receivers.
Right. And trios are 3x1.
Trios 3x1.
Right.
Then we have all our empty formations or,
Right.
you know, spread trigger, thunder trick, all those just putting guys in different spots. It's the exact same formation. It just puts people, the tailback is who's dictated our empty sets, where we want the tailback. And where we want, what we want to do with PJ. Okay, now, read bubble. Okay,